The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 331. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is the founder and CEO of Happydemic, and she'll be explaining more about that. And I'm just really excited to have her on today. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Radhika Mukherji. Radhika, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Hi, Sheena. Hello, everyone. Yes, hi. First of all, thank you for inviting me on this platform. I've been going through a whole lot of your interviews, and I should tell you, I've become a fan. And Happydemic is actually, we call ourselves a live music company. We actually bridge the gap between customers and upcoming talent. So we're a one-stop shop for upcoming talent. We nurture them, we nourish them, and we deploy them on shows. And our vision is actually to make a difference in the life of artists and customers through our platform. My husband is a very popular singer in India called Shan, and he goes by the name Shan. And music has given us so much into our lives that it was time that we gave back to music. That's why we started Happydemic.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Radhika, what's your cultural background?
It's strange, but I would like to answer. I'm actually an Indian first. We're a very diverse country with a lot of religions. And although I'm a Hindu, I have very, very liberal religious views. And that primarily happened because, I've been brought up in a very Indian typical joint family where you actually live with your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. We were 22 of us living in one house. And I think because of that, you're constantly interacting with different people. Although you're, a family, you all have different views. You've got, different habits. You've got different tolerance levels. So I think that's why the whole liberal views came from, because I'm extremely respectful, tolerant, and I have, humongous adjustment capabilities with people of other religion.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's crazy because I also lived with like my aunts and uncles. I think there was probably like 15 of us at the time, and I think that's prevalent in like Asian cultures. They all kind of like live together in one house.
Yeah, and I think that's one of our biggest standout points, because there is so much you learn in a bustling household, and you'll just learn so much how to let go and how to share. And I think that makes a huge impacts you in a very different way. I've seen friends who've had a very small nuclear family, and I come from this humongous family. And suddenly, you now as you grow older, you kind of see personality traits that you've actually got being raised up in a joint family.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Radhika, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I keep telling, I'm not what has happened to me. I am what I chose to become. I think women, and people should actually stop putting a lot of their failures or where they are in their lives today on circumstances. I think that if you're a hardworking person and you know how to treat people well, you've got enough tolerance level and you're respectful, your circumstances will make way. So I keep telling everyone, I said, some people say, oh, you're so lucky, you've married Shan, he's such a great singer. I said, I haven't won him in a lotto. The very fact that we're together is because we want each other. So yeah, I'm not what has happened to me. I am what I chose to become.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's a great quote and reminder to, all the listeners, because we tend to focus on our past failures, not realizing like we can always learn from them and change our circumstances in an instant. So it's a really great reminder for everyone. It's like you're not your past. You can change at any moment, and you can create another future, another present moment. So
absolutely.
Thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
See, that's the thing. You can't define self-confidence. I've been brought up, like I said, in a joint family. I've had 6 sisters and we've had no brothers. My parents raised us like boys. From climbing trees to riding bikes to playing even cricket on the streets. I've done it all. I've like climbed ledges across, one balcony to the other. And my parents have educated me well. They've always told me that I don't need anyone to support or protect me. I should be enough for myself. And I think this kind of confidence only comes if from the time you're little, because I think confidence is one thing that you need. You can't teach confidence, you need to feel it. And I think I felt it because my parents raised me up like this.
Thanks for sharing that definition. And it's so true. Like, if you, like, we all have it inside us. It's just learning to bring it out and feeling like more confident,
Absolutely.
having that courage to keep doing things that make us scared or uncomfortable. And the more we keep on doing it, the better we have that confidence inside us to come out and be the person that we are today or we want to be. So, that's a great definition. And what was your life like before?
So my life was actually, we were, like I said, a big joint family where we were all in a 4 bedroom house with so many of us. So it was always hustling and bustling. Other than that, I was raised up as a middle, like would you say, like an Indian middle class family. We walked to school, we cleaned the table, we washed dishes, we walked everywhere. I think my first trip abroad was when I was, 13 or 12 or 13 years old. I'd never traveled before that. My house was run extremely on a budget constraint. We couldn't overshoot anything. But I think one thing that was always full in our house was laughter and the confidence that my parents gave me, saying, okay, I started driving when I was 15 years old, and and by 16, I had my license. And I don't think my parents ever told me that, oh my God, you can't do that. Because I think especially people perceive India and women in India extremely held back. But it's not true. We're as go-getting and we're as much as a dreamer as someone in the West are. So my life before joining. And then, of course, I got married. And when I got married, I got pregnant very early. And so Sean and me, because he was traveling so much, we decided to actually stay at home. I decided to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom because I didn't want the kids to be raised up by a nanny. And honestly, we couldn't even afford one back then. So I stayed at home for quite some time till I realized that, now I'm doing the waiting game. I'm waiting for the kids to come home. I'm waiting for her husband to come home. I'm waiting. And that's when I said, I love being Mrs. Shan, but I think now it's time to be Radhika Mukherji. So I think my life has actually taken flight now.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I like how you mentioned that you were doing the waiting game, because a lot of us do that, right? I've been guilty of doing it too. It's like we're waiting for something to happen, not realizing like, we have it in us to make things happen. We just have to go out there and do it regardless if it's like really scary or like there's this uncertainty that we have no clue what's going to happen, or, people might make fun of us, all these like things that could happen to us if we just go out there and do it. But the more we wait, the more we like expect things to happen and get disappointed and realize like, it's just really up to us. And, I'm glad you're able to do that and, go out there and be the person that you are today. And because of that, what's your life been like now?
Wow, I'm going to just sum it up like, from a woman who used to actually wait for her kids to come home from school and open that door of the house. Now I have the kids opening the door for me. From being the woman that used to wait with a hot cup of coffee for, my husband to come home to make sure we sit and see the sunset together. Now my husband waits for me with a glass of wine. So, there have been a lot of changes. I went through immense guilt, Sheena, immense guilt when I started working, because I suddenly felt I was not there for the kids anymore. I suddenly felt there was, I was not spending time at home. Why should the kids call me? Why did I forget the work, the deadline of a project? Oh, I didn't land up in school for his 30-second performance on stage. And that kind of guilt killed me. It killed me thoroughly. I've had breakdowns with that. So actually, I had to sit with myself, literally sit with myself and reflect. I had to think that, how can a man do it all? He like my husband, he's he goes out for shows, he does his recordings, he's on TV, he comes home right in time for the kids to spend some time with them. He takes me out for dinner, and then I realized there is 24 hours in a day, and you can't manage time. I think the maximum thing we as women do, we try to manage time. We try to fill in too much in that day. We're like, this needs to be get done and that needs to be get done. And we just try to be perfect. And I told myself that, you can't manage time because time moves on whether you like it or not. What I can manage is self. And managing self was the first thing I did. I, made, along with my to-do list of my house, I made a to-do list of my office. And I just made a modern to-do list because I put in time slots in that. And now I try to achieve that day within that time slot. And I realized that 24 hours is a long time in a day. It's a lot of hours. And if you self manage, you automatically become a time multiplier. And I think that was my moment where I said, I know I have a crazy life right now, but there is nothing that I can miss if I'm actually self manager and I can multiply time.
Thanks for sharing that. And I like that how you mentioned that, we feel guilty for doing everything and trying to do everything at once because we're all like, we feel like we have to be this superwoman to just get everything done. Yeah, and if we miss one thing, it's like,
yeah, it's so sad because you talk about Superman, you think of the flying Superman,
yeah,
and you think of superwomen, you think of like a mom,
yeah,
or a woman.
And we feel guilty when we miss one task out of our to-do list. It's like,
Yeah.
But we did 9 out of 10. That should be a success, right?
Exactly, that should be it. And it's so much of me sitting down and actually talking to myself. I thought in the middle I was going a little crazy because I was talking to myself more, saying it's okay, it's fine, calm down. It's just like, they'll understand. And they really do. It's just that we just put so much pressure on ourselves as being a woman that we feel, we have to do it all. But you don't have to. It's okay not to. It's okay to let go. It's okay to tell sometimes that, what, I need help.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that was a great tip that you mentioned. It's okay to let go because we tend to hold on to things.
Everything.
For a long time too. And it really screws us over sometimes. And like the moment we let go, like we just feel a lot lighter and all this heaviness goes away. So, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And Radhika, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Of course, we have a website, happydemic.com. So that would be happydemic.com. So if you go, you'll know exactly what we do. It's a very user-friendly website. And the other thing is just very simple. Touch wood. We've really made a, mark of ourselves in India. Even if you actually Google Radhika Happydemic, you'll read a lot about us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Radhika, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Radhika's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Radhika for taking the time to share her story with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. It was an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll catch you later. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.